Hi everybody! After having presented already 2 examples of why I decided that many of the spiritual paths out there are simply not presenting truth in the sense of being pure spiritual paths, I would like to share with you a 3rd example of discovering what I have come to realize was not the truth either. Let's take a look at a recommendation from another author who claims to channel what he calls the Ascended Masters. I bought a couple of books from him and I also watched online some training that he offers. He depicts the Ascended Masters as beings recommending smoking and drinking to their students. Like, for real? This should be a huge red flag, right? Advanced spiritual beings, saints, if you will, recommending smoking and drinking alcohol? Come on! But it actually took me a couple of weeks to see through that. Let's look a little deeper here. What actually are the spiritual reasons why smoking or drinking alcohol are not recommended if one is to step on the spiritual path? When we smoke or drink, we take substances into our bodies that are not only unhealthy physically to our physical bodies, but also to our spiritual energy fields, which are called auras. Now, what is an aura? An aura is a luminous emanation or electromagnetic field surrounding all living things, including our physical bodies. A process called Kirlian photography is said to having captured some of what an aura looks like. An aura usually cannot be seen, even though some clairvoyants do claim that they can see them. An aura is said to be very colorful, and the colors move and change depending on what you think, feel, and say. Without exceptions, we all have auras. Just the characteristics, strengths, and colors of auras are different. Let's go back to what happens when we take in unhealthy substances. It stands to reason that whatever is unhealthy for our physical body is also unhealthy for our aura. So when we smoke, take in drugs, or drink, these substances hurt our aura. These substances have a negative effect on our aura. The aura gets wounded and increasingly susceptible to negative thoughts and feelings, as if it was spiritually weakened. Not unlike, let's say, a drug abuser's physical immune system gets compromised when taking in drugs. Imagine wearing a garment. Now imagine taking scissors and cutting holes in it once a week. Over time, these holes accumulate and get bigger. This garment wouldn't really shield you off anything, would it? When I was a teenager, I smoked marijuana. Most of my friends did, and it was kind of normal where I grew up. I also smoked cigarettes and I drank alcohol. Quite a nasty combination. And I remember laying down one night, being stoned and drunk. And all of a sudden I felt this very negative something in my room. I couldn't hear anything or I couldn't see anything, but I could feel it. Later on, I would say it was the devil because it really felt like the devil was in my room. And I remember being all like huddled up under my blanket and I didn't know what to do because I was so scared. Luckily, at one point I would just fall asleep and that was it. If you have a sensitive nature and are perhaps on your spiritual path as well and open up through smoking and drinking, you actually might become more sensitive to these energies. You might feel something unsettling around you, something that gives you goosebumps or scares you. You actually feel these energies. There are people that can see and hear them. And if you think about it, mentally ill people might not just imagine the voices they hear. Obviously, that's not an experience we want to have. So it is important to know that through smoking, drinking, and especially through taking drugs, you become a more and more open door to these forces. When you are on a spiritual journey, you want to connect on a deeper level to God and the universe, or whatever you want to call it. Now, I remember when I was hungover after a party night, and I would spend basically the whole day on the sofa or in the bed, being depressed and sluggish, and it was like my whole life force was sucked out of me. Do you think that when you do that and when you are in that state, you actually do connect on a deeper level to God and the universe? When you become more spiritual, at least when you are serious about it, you want to become energetically purified, stronger and healthier. Any drugs do not fit into this concept. I'm not trying to preach here. I smoked more than a decade and I drank plenty of alcohol already in my life. I want to make clear one point though. If you read about recommendations of smoking and drinking and taking in drugs on the spiritual path, these teachings do not come from the Ascended Masters. Rather, they come from dark forces that are trying to get you off your spiritual path. They are trying to weaken your aura. They are trying to block your spiritual development rather than enhancing it. Thank you so much for watching. In another 3 days, I will put up the last video of this 4-part video series. I will be drawing some final conclusions about what I've learned in my spiritual search and also speak about the specific reasons why I have decided that the Summit Lighthouse was going to be my main spiritual source. You do not want to miss it. Take care!